All right, Erin, what is the biggest issue that's facing Senate District 47 right now?
Well, we've knocked 31,000 doors, bipartisan voters we're talking to every day. And the number one thing they bring up is Ryan Walters. He is their top concern. This is a suburban district where public education is often the reason people have chosen to live in these communities. And they really see that Ryan Walters is failing our kids and our schools.
A fight over income taxes plagued the Senate last year. Should the state make a cut? Do you think the state can afford it?
Well, I think that when I talk to folks, there's not one person who has said, I think we fully funded everything we need to do in Oklahoma. No one likes to pay taxes, but we do enjoy the benefit of having good schools and safe roads and prepared first responders and access to healthcare and infrastructure like broadband. And those things cost money. So I think it's fine to take a good look, a strategic look at the way we are taxing our citizens, but slashing our state income tax with no plan to replace that revenue is reckless. And I think that it undermines our economy and our families and our businesses' success here in our state.
You'd be filling the seat held by Senate Pro Tem Greg Treat, who has a very firm pro-life stance. Where do you stand on that issue?
Well, I'm a mom of a teenage daughter. And the truth is, in Oklahoma, women are the victims of sexual assault far more often than they are in other places. If something terrible happened to her, she deserves the right to make a difficult healthcare decision with a physician that she trusts. And so I believe we've got to at least allow some exceptions for rape and incest for women in Oklahoma. But the truth is, I trust women and I trust physicians to make important healthcare decisions, especially when it's really difficult.
What should be done to further improve education in Oklahoma? Is school choice and tax credits the way to go?
The number one challenge we're seeing in our schools in Oklahoma is the loss of qualified caring teachers from our classrooms. Kids simply can't learn if they don't have a great teacher with the knowledge to help them succeed. So we've got to address our teacher pipeline. That is the number one thing I'd like to work on as a state senator. And I think it's where we do our very best for kids. What I'm hearing from voters in my district is they want to see excellent public schools with the resources and the teachers to meet the needs of all students. We can do that in Oklahoma, but it takes focusing on our public schools.
During the Republican runoff, the governor said the seat was at risk of flipping blue. Do you think that's true? Why or why not?
I know it's true. This is a really moderate voting district. Joy Hoffmeister actually won this district in 2022 with over 50% of the vote. Like I said, we've talked to 31,000 voters already, and we knock every single day. Just yesterday alone, we put out 7 yard signs. 4 went to Republicans, 2 to independents, 1 to a Democrat. We are seeing bipartisan support here because the second issue that voters talk to me about is they are so worried about political division. They are so tired of politicians that just toe a party line instead of working together to find solutions. And that's really what they're seeking in this election.
What are the biggest issues facing Senate District 47?
That's a loaded question. Now, there's a lot of issues. I'd say the biggest one right now is in the Senate, at least from my point of view, is a leadership. Is we just need to get more leaders into the Senate. I think that affects every Senate district. But underlying, I'd say policy-wise, is education. And I think that's Oklahoma's main problem. It affects everything we do as a Senate district. So definitely education is the priority, because without that, we can't move forward as a state and continue to be the best place to live in the United States, as far as I'm concerned.
A fight over income taxes plagued the Senate last year. Should the state make a cut, and do you think the state can afford it?
I think they need to look at it. I was a big fan of the grocery tax going away, but I was also looking forward to the Senate taking up what the governor asked them to do, and to take a look at state income tax. Do I think you can get rid of it completely? No. I think you can maybe able to stair step it down. There's always a second and third order effect to everything you do. So you can't just cut it. A lot of people try to make it look like, hey, what about Texas? They do that. Well, their property tax is higher, for instance. So I am a fan of lowering it. I think we need to take a look at it and get after it. I think we can afford that. Some people would disagree.
You'll be filling the seat held by Senate Pro Tem Greg Treat, who has a firm pro-life stance. Where do you stand on that issue?
I am pro-life, like most Republicans or most conservatives are. I do think there's exceptions for that rule. that gets me in trouble once in a while, but I do think there's exceptions to the rule of that, with rape, incest, and life of the mother.
What should be done to further improve education in Oklahoma? Is school choice and tax credits the way to go?
That's a large problem, what we would call in the Army a wicked problem. So, we didn't get to the bottom of the barrel overnight. It wasn't just one person's or one entity's issue. It took years to get here. It's going to take a long time to get back out of it. I think we need to have something like they do for infrastructure where, we have an 8-year plan. I think we need a 5 to 10-year plan, whatever it is, to get our education back toward the top, or at least the top third. That's bringing all the stakeholders together: parents, teachers, administrators, the legislator, school boards, and even the teachers union to address that problem. Do I think tax credits is completely it? No. I'm a fan of all forms of education. I'm a public school kid, and my kids all graduated from public school, so that was how I got my American dream. So, I want the public schools to do well. I also want parents to have the choice of where they send their children. If you want to send your kids to Catholic school, you ought to have that choice. And so those tax credits come in handy for people who want to do that. And I also think we need to make sure homeschooling is available in charter schools. It's a robust problem, but we really owe it to our kids to quit pointing fingers. That's not any one person's fault. I think we all own a bit of that, and we need to all take a little bit of ownership to get it back on top.
During the Republican runoff, the governor said the seat was at risk of flipping blue. Do you think that's true? Why or why not?
Flipping blue, I think it's not quite a purple district. I think that, yeah, it could be. There's a lot of talk about, running this race against something or against someone else. I'm asking people to kind of vote for me and vote for my record versus worrying about somebody who's not even in the race, to tell you the truth. Is it a risk? Sure. It could be anytime if you don't get voter turnout. The Republicans don't come out and vote, and/or I don't mesh with independents or some Democrats. It could be done. I hope I'm not the guy that loses the seat, but we shall see what the voters say on November 5th.